are the four horsemen of this apocalypse.
The genesis of FrightFest, that's a good word, I like that.
I, of course, started a festival in the 80s called Shock Around the Clock that Paul McAvoy was a huge fan of. That went all night. I got a bit wearing after a while, to be honest with you, so I moved it to the National Film Theatre, and it was called Phantasm. And I got really bored with doing it there, so I sort of closed it down a bit. Then Paul said, you should really do Shock Around the Clock again.
I didn't know Alan, so Paul introduced him to Alan, and the three of us went off and took it from there.
So we actually had the idea with Ian to start it up again, and we began at the Prince Charles Theatre,
which is literally a stone's throw away from here. If you look out one of the windows, you can actually see the Prince Charles.
And it's grown in size ever since.
FrightFest is a horror film festival for the fans, by the fans, because all four of us in our different ways are very passionate about horror films.
My favourite film? Probably Macabre.
Millennium and The Human Centipede.
My favourite film is I Think We're Alone Now. It's a documentary about a couple of Tiffany stalkers.
And I think Shadow, the Federico Zampaglione movie, that is a real surprise to me because it's like a really good, old school Italian horror, and we haven't seen one of those for a while. Sorry, Dario.
We've got stars which are unannounced as attending the festival as well.
Some cast from Night of the Demons, all the cast of Heartless, all the cast of Descent 2.
Chris Smith, Melissa George.
Usually we think, there's not going to be many people around, and then suddenly there is. They all sort of come out of the woodwork once they realise how big it all is.
FrightFest is a little bit like a music festival where you have a very hardcore fan base, a little bit like Guillermo del Toro said, it's the Woodstock of gore.
Just to get it to this point has been quite monumental for us to do. When I look around and see what it's actually engendered, it quite shocks me. So, who knows? We're in the biggest cinema. IMAX! We'll go to the IMAX, BFI IMAX, on the biggest screen ever, in 3D.
We thank you very much, and would everybody just say welcome?
What are you looking forward to tonight? I'm here to see Triangle and The Hills Run Red, and I'll probably, if I live long enough, stay to see Infestation.
Obviously the Triangle's the opening film, so I'm really, really excited about that. Chris Smith, Severance, brilliant.
Creep is a great movie. Severance is pretty good as well, so looking forward to Triangle. And Infestation looks like a lot of fun too.
Yeah. Infestation, the last film. A bug film, lots of creatures, it looks really exciting. And of course the premiere of Triangle as well.
I'm hoping Hills Run Red will be good fun. Over the weekend, Human Centipede looks like to be the standout piece of just utter unpleasant nastiness.
Dread, big Clive Barker fun.
Horde, the French film. I like French horror, last year's Martyrs.
The Horde, I think that's going to be amazing. And Descent 2, that's going to be good as well.
Trick or Treat should be good fun. Descent 2 is probably worth looking forward to.
American Werewolf in London, of course. Seeing that on the big screen.
And Giallo will hopefully be really bad in a humorous way.
Is that working? Yeah. Right. And now on with the show. Chris Smith is, of course, one of our family again. We've had Creep, we've shown Severance. We love him today. Please welcome the director of Triangle, Mr. Chris Smith.
It's not just a great kind of honour to be here. I love FrightFest anyway. What's weird about this year is the 10th anniversary is at the Empire Leicester Square, and what makes that particularly relevant for me is, as a young geek, me and my friends got the train up here to watch Black Rain in the cinema. So to be at my favourite film festival actually in the Empire Leicester Square is amazing. So thank you for having us.
This movie, without a doubt, came from my experience of sitting in screenings with guys like you, watching your response to the films I've made and thinking, how can I top that and how can I do better? And that's what this movie is.
I always love fantasy movies, horror fantasy movies that actually do make you cry, move. I was very moved by the end of this, and Melissa's fantastic in it, I think.
Emotion, and then a lot of horror movies don't have that feeling. You don't actually feel emotional. You feel scared, you feel exhilarated, but you seldom feel something for the character and for the story. And I think it's a sad movie because it's about people that are. Melissa plays a character that's very put upon in society, and she's got loads of flaws, and you still like her, and I think that's all credit to her performance.
I loved it. I play 4 or 5 Jessers, as you'll see, and when I read the script, I said to my agents, I want to work with a man that had the balls to write something like this, so brilliant. So
yeah, the madness. My wife used to beg me when I was writing the script to make a movie like Splash instead, or a movie like Turner.
What my mother says too. Why not you make a movie like Splash?
Triangle. What do you think?
Really, really good. A little bit confusing, but I think if you can stick with it and keep an eye on which girl you're looking at, it's pretty cool.
I thought it was excellent. It's one of the movies you've got to see again though, because there's just so much going on and there's so many different plots You definitely see it again just to work out what it's all about, really.
It was like watching time crimes on a boat in English, and not as good, really, to be honest.
Oh, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really interesting. The wind down, like the denouement kind of thing at the end. I thought was actually the most interesting part of the film. Like it took a little while to like unwrap and unwind and kind of explain everything and wrap up loose ends. And I thought that was probably one of the most interesting parts of the film was just that wind down.